Incredible to me.
Right? I mean, that's the things that's where my parents live.
Do we think that Linda's gonna join us for this?
I'm not sure. I have a gentleman named Rick.
Oh, Rusty Day is in the waiting
Is
room.
Linda, yeah.
So before we get going, any guess as to when we're gonna take a look at that house on Piper Hill?
Yeah. Probably be next week. I mean, you were just getting back, right?
Yeah.
I think the thing I got from you said the 6th. Probably gonna be next week.
Okay, just stay in touch.
Yeah.
Hi, Linda.
I did not know Daniel's a good.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can hear you, Linda. How are you?
Okay, I'm good, thank you. Yep, great.
Good. Enjoying your time?
Oh, yeah, it's good. Well, yeah, it's either too hot or rainy, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
it's sort of
true.
like being in Vermont, right?
Yeah.
Right. And it's not sort of like, it's exactly like being in Weston.
Yeah,
If you want to dial it back a little bit.
yeah.
Hi, Rick. Would you mind giving us your name?
This is Rick Morey on Zoom.
Thank you.
Recording in progress.
Okay, 7:30. We're gonna call the meeting to order. I'm gonna hunt around for my agenda here. Oh, okay. Oh, here it is. Yeah. We're not going to, any changes to the agenda? Just before we do, the agenda says first is road foreman. I'm sorry, was it Rick?
Rick Moray.
Rick Moray.
Morey.
And so the agenda is road foreman changes to the agenda. Because we're gonna do the road foreman first because he's puts in too many hours to be sitting around here for too long. Then we're gonna have public comment. So if you have anything to say, that'll be your time. Jeff.
Yeah. I guess things are moving along. We had to take the international back over, the small truck back over, and kind of work on again. I've actually got a call about the bill because I think some of that stuff should have been under warranty, and I just got it today. Just got the 10-wheeler back on Friday. Some fishing, working, kept throwing some lights on, so we just got that back. Now Hugh's truck is down there being worked on, so really struggling to keep 3 trucks together at any one time.
Is that because they're new and these bugs need to be worked out, or is that?
I think it's just this new degree of stuff, and there's so many sensors. So many sensors to protect you from yourself, basically. So there's a sight glass on the 10-wheeler. There's a sight glass in the hydraulic tank where you can look and see the hydraulic fluid should be somewhere here. There's a sensor in that tank that went bad on us, and when it went bad, it wouldn't let you use the dump body because that sensor was
Telling you didn't have any hydraulic fluid.
We unhooked it, we tested it, we unhooked it, and then it stopped doing that. But you can, I mean, you can look through the glass and see that it's got hydraulics. They just put so much stuff on. It's like protect me to protect myself, you know what I mean? And there's so much of that. I did get your text about the roadside mowing. And I had reached out to that guy like a month ago, and he had gotten back to me, and like the day before you texted me and said it's going to be late September if I get to it. The state, he said the state's his priority, and that he's shorthanded, and if we want to do something else, you know, another route, he was okay with it. We don't have the equipment to do it. And so with all the poison parsnip that's out there, you can't really put somebody weed whacking. The day after you called me, a lady called me about Redale Road. And it's all poison parsnip right there. So Denny kind of sicked me on trying to see if we could rent a tractor. A lot of success with that. So I think, you know, I think probably in the long and the short of it is probably at some point Weston it should end up with a tractor to mow their own roadsides and maybe get it before the poison parsnip goes to seed. And
Isn't it going to seed right now?
it is already. I
It's
mean,
already in
it's
seed.
it should have been cut probably 3-4 weeks ago.
Okay.
Anyway, and you know, I know there's been talk about trying to find a spot to burn some brush and this, that, and the other thing. And this is just my opinion. My opinion is probably look for a tractor that's big enough to do roadside mowing and to put a chipper on instead of wasting, in my opinion, wasting money trying to go up by you to the piece of land that the town has and clear a road and cross a brook and then do something that I think inevitably is headed to chipping.
Yeah.
I think the town should put those two pieces of property on the market, the one down by Johnson Hill and that one. And just take the money and use it towards something. But I think, you know, so I don't know, you know, I don't know what you want me to do. If you want me to pursue, you know, probably could go around. So you really kind of needed a tractor with a cab on it at this point if you're going to mow poison parsnip because yeah, if it gets on your skin, it blisters it like you were burned in a fire. And I kind of thought people were being, you know, making more of it than it was. A few years, and then I did some sickle bar mowing, and I knew I was in it, and I didn't pay any attention to it, and I got on the back of my hand, and it blistered up like on the back of my hand like a half inch stone. It popped like 4 or 5 days later. Like so, it's not a.
Yeah.
I was thinking how people are just, you know, being nervous, but it's not. So I get your concern. You know, I get people calling you, but there's no lot to do.
Can we, if you got a quote on a tractor, is a tractor the right thing? I mean, that'll have a power takeoff and everything. That's the right thing to get a chipper and a
multi-use item. You know what I mean? You can use you get a big enough tractor that you could run on like a 6-inch chipper, and you might not do a sickle bar. You might do an over the rail mower. I'm just saying. I was just looking at it, and this guy that has been doing it for like 6 years, he's like, I really feel sorry that I can't get there sooner, but he's like, the state takes precedence, and he's like, I'm hoping I'll get there.
Yeah.
But we're getting those phone calls right now, like we can't see at intersections.
Yeah.
That's what I'm seeing and hearing and even seeing it myself, like, I can't see to pull out. I did send Seth around and do some of the intersections with a weed whacker that didn't have poison parsnip. Just to try it a little bit. But,
Do you think there's any chance that we can get them over before the end, but within the next month or so? Or is this something we ought to put off for next year?
Well, you're probably gonna be putting it out. So, I mean, I think it's a big enough purchase that you're probably gonna want to go to town meeting. You're gonna want to think about it. I mean, you're probably talking $100,000 tractor if you get a.
By the time you get,
By the time you get it set up.
Yeah.
And I'm just being, I mean, I may be high or low, but I'm just being in the
that kind of
ballpark.
number, I would have guessed high 5 digits, but yeah.
So, and we're right now, last year we paid like around 15 grand.
The guy that can't do it now.
The guy that can't do it, and to be totally honest with you, we're not going back as far as we used to. With the sickle bar, we used to go back a little bit further. So now we've got brush that used to get cut down with a sickle bar that's now growing out in the road, and we're going to have to deal with that at some point. So, the guy does a nice job, but he wasn't going back as far as like Alan Benson used to do it for the town. And he was cutting people's maple trees down on their lawn. I mean, he kept them back.
Did he have, is that a longer sickle bar or did he have one of these rotary things?
No, he had a sickle bar. But the only thing with the sickle bar is that doesn't allow you to get behind the guardrails.
Yeah.
So, or down over a steep bank, you know what I mean? So there's most of the towns like Peru, and I believe Londonderry has gone to a mower on the back, like what the guy that does it for us does, and maybe spends a little more time and pushes stuff back.
So Peru and Londonderry, they're doing it themselves.
They're doing it themselves, and the only, the advantage to that is that you can cut stuff before it goes to seed.
Yeah,
And
you're in
it's-
control.
But on the other token, then it's something else for the road crew to do.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
so it's, I get both sides of it. I'm not sitting here saying that road crew wants to anything more to do, but I'm also saying I am hearing the complaining, and I don't be complaining too, and and I got your message about it. So that's something to think about.
And it would be too obvious that there's another company out there that has time to do it, right? Which there's no one.
It's a pretty specialized
Yeah.
thing, and I haven't had anybody knocking at the door saying, "Gordon, don't know anybody else that does it." This guy's got 5 roadside mowers. He does all the state highways, and he usually hits Weston when he's going through. But
Yeah.
he said, "Look, I'm short-handed." It took him almost a month to get back to me.
Yeah.
So,
It's a specialized thing.
What's that?
It's like a super specialized thing that like
Sounds
rare,
like the
I
equipment
mean, you
is.
could do, we could probably we could probably come up with something to make a pass or two.
it has to be done like consistently,
What was it?
like mowing it consistently over time, or just.
Oh, well, I mean, if it keeps poison parsnip from going to seed, it at least keeps it from going all over.
Right.
And not that it hasn't gone a long way, but, we might be able to put something together to make a pass or two. But, so here's the thing, I guess my question is, do we keep pursuing, trying to figure out a way to get some of it done now? Do we wait for the guy and hope that he comes this year? I mean,
Are there
obviously-
safety issues at these intersections right now? I haven't seen
It
it.
is,
There are
it is.
safety
You
issues.
can't see, the stuff's as tall as it's gonna be, or, might be a little bit taller, but it really is the issue right now. So the lady that called me from Greendale Road, and we had a great conversation about it. She said she pulled out kind of in front of a 10-wheeler. She was headed out of Greendale and she was turning left. She said she looked and she's like, when I pulled out, there was a 10-wheeler right there, and I almost got broadsided. And So we had a good conversation, and I said, well, if you look, you can see where we back up to the poison parsnip, and then, and she was very understanding, and we had a great conversation about it, but it is, at some point, becomes a safety issue.
So I have
So
a
it-
question. Sorry, then it becomes, sorry, Linda, but then it becomes, what does it cost to, for right now? And how long are the hours that we're gonna be able to use or even find someone with a tractor or a tractor that we can rent or someone?
Yeah, no, I mean, I got some feelers out there, so I called 3 different companies that people gave me tips on it, renting tractors. One says, no, we've never done it, the other one said, we used to do it, and, Capital Tractor said, you rent tractors, but they're all out right now, I'll call you back when one comes in. I haven't heard from, so my original thought was we would let's say buy a sickle bar mower and rent a tractor to run it.
Mhm.
We'd at least we'd have a mower. But I don't know.
What does the sickle bar cost?
Oh, 10 grand probably.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, you can find a pretty good used one probably for quite a bit less than that. But that's kind of where we're at.
Yes.
I guess the one that we had one, I guess it got pretty broke up over I think it lasted about 8 years. So they got about 8 years out of the last sickle bar mower. So if you spread that out, I mean, it's $1,000 a year or $1,200 a year to own the sickle bar mower.
Yeah.
And if you can rent a tractor, you're ahead of the game. That's something to think about. Then,
How many hours, if you had a sickle bar, how many hours would it take somebody with a sickle bar mower and a tractor to do our roads?
so when they used to rent a tractor and do it, they'd run a tractor for a month. And they take stuff back. There's some areas that have grown up around town, going up Andover Ridge or Andover Chester Mountain.
Mhm.
When you get up near the top, there's a bank there that's got a bunch of trees that fell over during the ice
Yeah.
storm. They used to keep that all mowed down. So then we wouldn't have been up there during the ice storm pulling those trees out of it because it wouldn't have been trees on it. So they used to take stuff back quite a ways with the sickle bar. So they would run a tractor for a month. So 160 hours. I mean, you know, you get rain days in that month. And
Oh, yeah.
Rain and,
Yeah.
or whatever. But that's just a good ballpark that I come up with. You know, you probably could run around and do 1 or 2 passes. You know, each week's time you could get a couple passes around town. So it's not that I'm definitely hearing people's complaints about,
Sure.
taking it serious for sure. Haven't had a lot of luck. And also didn't know how far to pursue it.
Well,
Linda, you wanted to say something, I'm sorry.
yeah,
I was going to ask about renting, but Jeff covered that right after I had my hand up. But Jeff, I wonder about what your recommendation is. What do you think we should do?
I think I heard you, Linda, you asking me what I think we should
Your
do.
recommendation.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I was thinking about pursuing just trying to either find a sickle bar or find somebody with a sickle bar, and maybe have them do a pass or 2 around town. But I don't know how kindly the guy's gonna take to it. I haven't said yes or no to the guy that said I may or may not be able to do it. So if we do this, I know where we're at with him long term. Probably on the schedule, but if that's what we're targeting, going is doing our own mowing. Then I think we just try to find a sickle bar that's so. New Holland makes a pretty nice sickle bar that parts are pretty readily available. And,
What
they
company?
don't make a new one.
New Holland.
They stopped making it because it was too good, but you can buy all the bearings to rebuild the thing right at the auto parts. Like, and actually, I was ordering some parts for one that I have, and every part that I was looking for was like, there it is, you know. What they had trouble with the John Deere the last time, the one that went to heck was they just couldn't get the parts anymore.
How long
So-
ago was your last conversation with the state guy?
Even though it took him a month to get back to you.
Right, that's what I'm.
It took him a
Let's just
month.
clarify.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
being
yeah.
like,
It took him about a month to get back to me. So he called me on the last one, so I don't exactly know exactly.
I'm asking because I'm thinking if it's been a few weeks, and maybe we could ask him one more time if he has an idea when he's coming through. And if not, you know, we say to him, you know, we really want to use you, but we have safety issues, so we might have to do something else. Maybe that would spur him to do it quicker, or maybe, and if it wouldn't, then we can at least have an idea and be able to move
or
forward.
is it too late
Well,
because of the safety issue?
Here's the thing, it's
Yeah,
like,
that's
so
a good
how long
point.
do you want me to, so, you want me to wait till the next meeting?
No,
I mean, I'm just
no.
saying, like,
No, I think that's what we're saying.
It's too
Maybe
late.
call this guy, and if he doesn't give you a response, then maybe we
We gotta
just need
start
to,
making like this week.
you know, if you can find the renter piece, the rental.
yeah, I'll see what I can do.
I got his number on June 10th. So,
Jeff, I just sent you a quick text.
Okay, I felt something come through, but,
Yeah. Is that who you've been talking to?
so I texted him, I texted him June 13th. And it was just last week that I heard from him.
See, I think, can you hear me? I
Yes.
think that it is really dangerous. I happen to live on, so I live on the corner, I live on Dale Road, and I get the guy who mows my field to mow down the yellow parsnip that's there because it's impossible to see if you're sitting in a car and you want to turn, in my case, if you want to turn left out of Dale Road. I don't think we can wait until this guy thinks he can maybe get there by September or late
Yeah.
August or something. I think, you know, if he's not going to do it next week, then
Move forward. Right?
then we need to we need to get our own man there or rent or whatever we have to do. Sorry.
I mean, I'll text him either after the meeting or in the morning, and we'll go from there. See where he's at. He's in better shape, but, the only other thing, I guess I did have a couple things. The guy down there on Wayne and Old Tavern Hill with all the red stakes out in the road.
Where is it in the road where you guys are going?
Yeah,
Where you mow?
got it.
I talked to
Brian,
Denny
that's the
a
guy.
Okay.
Okay.
I talked to Denny a little bit about it, and Denny's like, go down and take the stakes down, and I'm like, I think we gotta do something with these folks, because everybody's pushing it. I mean, even where you're talking about wanting to get together and go out, I pulled this deed as well as I know you pulled this deed.
Yeah,
And I know he said that I wasn't right the day we were up there, but it was pretty clear to me from reading the deed that I wasn't very far off. I don't know if you read the same thing that
we
I did.
pulled the survey.
And I don't,
You're right.
I mean, he told me I was wrong right there in front of you guys.
Right. Well, we see it the same way. Yeah.
So if we let him do it and we let the guy, I mean, I'm just saying, I guess he's your buddy. Do you want to go tell him to take the stakes up? Because the other thing is that's where the state wants me to get the water off the road. It's giving me the grant, it's up that hill. So it's not that I have the thorn, I mean, it's just road maintenance.
Yeah, it's not personal. Yep, understood.
Yep.
So we will just follow up. We'll just take a look at that too, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
just-
let's, so, yeah, Brian and I'll go look at that in the next little while, and
And he's
We'll
built
get
up
back
the
to it.
edge of the road
yeah,
where the tar is, so it's, you know, it's this much of a lip on the edge of the tar. Massive above the tar. Anyway, I don't know. Everybody feels like they own.
I know,
The town
it's-
ditch is their,
It's a
it's
tough,
their yard, and I get it. I get what they're trying to do. The other question I have is, did the library get a permit to go across the Lane Road Hill above the bridge?
Good question for Linda.
You mean across Lawrence Hill Road?
Yeah, and the only reason I asked is because somebody called and asked about a permit, and then I stopped there and talked to the guy that's heading it up. And he said, oh, I was told last week that all the permits were in place to cross the road. I have,
when you say cross the road,
I mean, across the road for the well,
For the septic.
for the well.
Oh,
Well,
They gotta do a well line, and
yeah,
so somebody called and asked me about it. I haven't issued a permit. Unless the select board issued a permit, there isn't a permit out there.
did,
And the other part of that is, there's electrical involved in running that well. And so our policy says electrical stuff is supposed to be capped in a thing of concrete. And I guess even furthermore on that behalf of, this is, you know, we want them to close the road down, we want to make them keep the road open. If they cap it in concrete, they're gonna have to have it open for longer. It lets concrete hard.
Yeah.
Then how far do you want them to cut the tire back, because of, you're gonna have, if you dig a 2-foot trench, you're gonna probably have a 4-foot cave-in area or 6-foot cave-in area. So how far do you wanna make them? So but as far as I know, they don't have a permit through me unless they have a permit through the select board. But the last I knew, the road foreman was issuing them, other than I would ask you occasionally, you know, like the Brad thing, like,
Yeah,
what are you
yeah.
thinking? So,
yeah, that's a really good point. My understanding, just for the record, Linda, I thought that in doing that well over there, they were just gonna drill or bore it right under the road, and it wasn't gonna mess with the road at all. It was gonna, be that.
so somebody called the town garage and left a message, and it was really staticky. So I said, look, the best way to do it is just to stop right over there.
Yeah,
And I did, and the guy's like, well, the library's hired a company to kind of oversee the whole process, and that guy told me that he had all the permits in place. And I haven't issued a permit unless the select board has issued a permit.
Okay.
And
So I will, that person is the engineer, Ted Reeves, and I will send him a note. My understanding as Jim's is that they have all the permits that they need. He was confident about that, has said that a number of times. So I will double check with him and just make sure. And I will also find out what what the plans are. Jim, I thought they were going to have to cut into the road and close the road for some period of time. I did not think they were going under the road, but that's something we need to find out about too. So I will find out about that and get back to you, Jeff.
Yeah, I looked in my file, and I think I even asked Sean, so for my records, I show no permit to do any work in the highway there.
Yep. Okay. I'll find out.
Just routine stuff. I don't have anything other
no, I think we,
I think we addressed the stuff that's kind of reared up in the past couple of weeks, stuff. Oh, I did say something about, I said something to Nick that Denny, I said something to Denny that Nick is kind of would like the town to hire full time. And I said something to Denny, and I don't know if he translated anything to you guys, and so I sent Sean a text today and sent it to Nick just saying, I talked to Denny a while back. I hope he passed it on. Select board. So I'm just bringing that up.
I did put it on the agenda for next meeting on the 22nd.
I have a chance to talk.
If I-
No, we just, we have it.
Yeah, so
It's
maybe before then, maybe somebody schedules a time to speak with them, I know Danny's got some stuff on his plate, but, I just wanted to know that I have
Talk to
Move forward.
moved forward and
Would it help you if we did it sooner than before next, next weekend? Because maybe, next select board meeting, because maybe,
I'm
you and one of us could go and just talk to the guy and,
so he's working for us part-time right now.
okay,
And this and the other thing. I have a feeling if we don't maybe try to speed up the process a little bit, that he may get frustrated with us and walk away. Because I did mention it to Denny probably 2 weeks ago now.
Am I gonna see him tomorrow morning?
If you come to town,
When I come
garage,
to Denver up in the morning?
you actually met him, I think, in the grader.
I did, I met him. Very nice.
And so, there's something, I want him to know that I think he was a little frustrated with me thinking that I wasn't. So, he's a pretty good guy. And that I was.
So in the mornings, every other Wednesday now, I'm going to the town garage and one of the gentlemen who works for the town is coming with me to sampling because for OSHA regulations.
Oh, you need someone with you.
And so, tomorrow morning.
And then Jeff, this was, I guess, this guy, I don't know if he's contacted you, came in last week and talked to the town clerk. He wants to volunteer for the garage. I don't know what that means, but that is his name and phone number if you
Give him a sickle.
wanna call him.
Or-
Does he want,
Ends up
Yeah.
calling you.
tell him to
Does he
bring a
want
sickle
to
bar
do a
mower.
sickle?
Yeah, does he have a tractor and a sickle mower?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
hilarious.
okay.
He's really motivated.
Yeah,
I don't know who that is, but
what's fun, I mean,
just in case he
I
calls.
don't either, but it becomes one of those things.
Totally.
Insurance.
Yeah,
I mean,
understood.
you gotta have.
Yeah.
Drug testing, it's,
But if he calls, I just didn't
no,
want you to know.
We can't have somebody working on a volunteer basis, no,
But
that's,
maybe there's something else we
I mean,
could.
we kind of went through the same thing.
Does he wanna
with
cut the
Almond,
shrubs?
like, how do we handle Almond, because he
For
was
Jim
for him,
yeah,
so
For who?
I certainly have
Jim's
called
gonna
him.
volunteer to
You
cut the
guys
shrubs.
have, I had a guy
Right on the side,
volunteer to
yeah.
clean up
I can do that.
Upper Dale Road when the trees, during the ice storm, a guy called me on Sunday and said, I'm going to clean up Upper Dale Road. I couldn't get right up Upper Dale Road. I was just,
Yeah.
it was a great offer, but it's like, you get hurt with a chainsaw taking down trees in the right.
under town, yeah.
I was like, I appreciate it. And these are good offers. I mean, that's a great offer. Maybe he's got a hand side and he's willing to take down the poison parts.
Yeah, it's hard ones.
And then
I mean, the best way, I'm trying to think how, I would say, well, if you want to go and bring your own chainsaw and clear out Dale Road, I guess I can't stop you. And I'm sure your neighbors would be appreciative, period.
yeah, it is,
Right.
it is one of those things.
Yeah,
And
but I can't possibly give you permission to do it. Yeah.
then the
Just
town
say
brought
that.
up something to me today that something you guys have gotten stormwater related, then they start talking about looking at private people's.
Yeah, I put that.
I don't have time to do anything on the other token. I don't know what the town's getting involved with.
Oh, that was the hand.
The stormwater master plan.
Oh, okay. No. it's not.
else, is
We're
there
good stuff.
anything else for
I got
us?
any Advil?
I'm sure I'll think of something but nothing that can't be solved with a text or
Yeah.
something. And like I say, I am hearing it. The other thing is, the nice thing is with the new excavator, we are getting a bunch of ditching done.
It's great.
The only bad thing about it is we're going through a bunch of grass seed and a lot more hay than we ever did before. I think we used to purchase about 50 bales of hay a year. I think we're up in the 250 range. So our budget for hay is going to be up, and seed is 100 pounds of grass seed.
Wow.
It's $167 a bag. But we're going through more of it, but that's just part of.
Yeah.
We got something to help us get ditching in, but we're going through some other items.
Ditching needs to get done, so that's great.
All right.
Thank you, Jeff.
Jeff.
Bye.
Thank you, Jeff.
Say hi to Lisa, tell her we miss her. Yeah. Even though she doesn't miss us.
Yes.
Oh,
See you guys.
bye.
Bye.
Okay, public comment,
Before it.
yeah, that might be, Rick, are you still here?
Yes, no comments, more just community interest in, you provide a forum through Zoom to watch these and felt it would be a good opportunity to see what's going on.
Great. Art,
Fantastic.
you don't have to answer this question. Are you a resident or are you,
We're more a resident now than we have been in the last 20 years.
okay,
Cool.
Lovely.
That's great.
thank
Leaning
you.
in that,
I don't
leaning
mean
in
to
that.
put you on the spot.
No problem at all. Valid
Thank you.
question.
Thank you for joining.
Okay, meeting minutes.
So we have the liquor control board.
Yeah, so do I have an,
Just you two were here for, right?
Yeah.
yeah, do I have a motion to approve or change?
I wasn't here, so I don't know.
I make a motion to approve.
Okay, I was there, so I'll second it. And see, can we approve that?
Who else
For
was
the-
Danny
for the
there?
liquor- For the liquor control board, you mean, right?
Yeah, just for the
Yeah.
liquor control board.
Was Danny at the meeting?
He was.
Denny was.
So if you two vote for it, then you have a majority of the people who were at the meeting.
Thank you, Linda. So all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll sign that. And then, the select board meeting, same
Scenario.
scenario. I've read this through. I have no,
Yes, of course.
I have no changes. So, Katie, you have anything or anybody have any comments?
No, I also agree that I did look over everything. Everything looked good.
Okay,
So I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Use that one.
Yeah.
Got this one.
Okay, fraud policy.
So this is the one we discussed
Last
a
time.
bit ago, right?
Yeah, and I think we made some changes and they look good to me.
Yeah, they're all there. From what I can remember.
So, does anybody have any comments on the updated, edited version of fraud policy?
No, everything looked really good when I read it.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
I We'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
The fraud policy.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Uh,
Okay.
Aye.
Right.
Brian second, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Let you know.
Yeah.
Oh.
Got a little behind here, but
All right.
okay. Generator service contract. For the record, I reviewed it. It looked good to me. We should have asked Jeff if he had any comments, but
So Jeff usually does the maintenance at the generator at the garage. I didn't know if I should be asking them to include Little School's generator.
Is it the same company?
No. Little School's generator was donated, we've had it put there and fixed and whatever, but HB has nothing to do with it. But I didn't,
Do we have another service contract on that one?
no,
But if we don't do a service contract,
So this HB is just for
the town office
just for the
only.
town office only.
not garage, not here.
Correct.
And we don't have a contract at the garage or,
Garage usually
oh,
does
does their own.
their own.
That's right. Okay,
But
that
the
makes
Little
sense.
School is just.
Yeah, they're not gonna, okay.
so how about this? They're not gonna be doing any work on the generator, I'm assuming until next select board meeting. Can you reach out to them and see if they can, include the little
Okay.
school and this, and, it'll be one trip and,
I just don't see why not. We don't have anyone doing it.
Absolutely.
absolutely.
That's
We
the
just-
right thing to do.
Yeah, and I just hope, I think the Jeff and the guys can do a pretty good job on that generator because they're all super mechanical, but generators, they just need to be looked after. And they're just sitting there quietly until you need them, and if they don't come on, it's really bad news. So
Can we ask Jeff if he would want a maintenance contract on that, or is?
Or
I can
Do
check
you
with him
have-
again. When I asked, when this generator was installed,
Okay,
we had thrown it around a little bit,
Okay.
like, when this comes up, we should figure out if we should include everybody.
right,
Our 3 collective generators.
okay.
well, let's definitely do these two, full boot,
And
full
I'll double
bow.
check.
And double check with Jeff, and I'm thinking just maybe once a year for plugs and filters and all that stuff, if they just got sitting in the back of their car.
Yeah.
And rather than having to, one of our busy guys run down and get a filter or something like that.
Correct, so I will contact them.
Cool.
Great, thank you.
And
That's
then-
great.
all right, thank you.
And then, access right of way.
That's just a new form that I made. The only thing that I was looking at is in the old copy, it says to draw a map. There's like a space where you can draw a map. In this, it says include a map and, mark out where you're going to do everything. And then
And where's that, property tax map copy must be attached.
Yeah,
That's the supporting document, is that right?
highlighting the proposed access site. So I wasn't sure if that was enough or if I should put in like a little spot where you draw.
Well, because it
I'm
has,
not-
so it has to be, so we have to have an idea of
Well,
what's happening, right? But like who then reviews it, it's us who reviews it.
Jeff would be perfect.
Jeff would be
Yeah,
great,
the
yeah.
supporting documents, it's very clear in that they need to do a sketch, so
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
And then, just as I was sitting here, I can't remember if the fee is $25 or $20. So I will have to check with Kim and check that
See,
for the application.
I thought it was $250, it says here.
Well, so, yeah, but
with
the
a
difference,
refund.
Yeah, but the
she's saying
refund,
the
so,
refund being
Oh, okay, okay.
$225 or $230.
$25 or 20, understood,
And I
understood.
think I may have just
Pulled it.
from
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean, it looked,
Yeah, I don't know. So
Totally.
I have to check on that, but
I-
I can't remember.
I like the idea of like a solid 25.
I, for $25, we're losing money on just reading all these applications.
Yeah, right.
And, you know, I'm wondering whether it ought to be,
100
well,
or 75.
yeah, I mean, make it a $300 application fee, $250 to be, because $50, that's just barely 2 hours of review. And, you know,
I'm fine with that. Is
That's
this
fair.
Yeah, I like
part
that.
of like
Yeah.
the zoning stuff? Like, does this have to? I mean, I don't care about the fee. I just need to know,
Does zoning have to approve it or look
yeah,
at it?
if someone else has to approve it other than just us.
Or, yeah,
why don't you ask him
I will
about
look.
that, but let's go with 300 and 250.
I like that.
Can
Yeah.
you remind me why it is that that they get all that money back? I mean, why charge them and then they get it back?
Because we want them to have the final inspection done, and not a lot of people are doing that.
Or
Ah,
they even
gotcha.
they're not even
Okay.
adhering to the idea that it has to be done, they're just
Right.
ignoring the whole thing.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
Yep.
so basically the idea is if they don't get it, then but the question is, if they don't do it.
That's a good point.
Do they get penalized?
Do we have a fine
Like, do
if
they get
someone does
penalized
something
for
like
that
this?
250, or do they get that, do they have to pay the $50 for the application and then get, you know, so they, and then get that 250 back, or do they just get fined 250 for not doing it?
Mhm.
Well, that's a really good point. Maybe we put in, if you don't do the work and you're not planning to, you want to withdraw the application, then we'll give you $250 back, but it still costs you. We had to review this whole application and approve it or reject it, so that cost you $50. So,
I think, Katie, is that what you're saying, or were you saying
No.
that if
Oh.
someone just goes and does an access right of way without
And
check,
pays the 250.
with, it just does it without approval from the board or from the town? Is there a
doesn't
fine
file
for
an
that?
Doesn't
application.
file an
Right.
application.
Is there a fine for that?
Is there a
If they-
fine for
Oh,
that?
I don't know.
That's a different subject.
Yeah, that's.
Maybe we have
that's-
to think about.
Sorry, I
what
made it
you're
more
saying.
complicated.
No, I got you.
Well,
I
let's
was-
go with this. I'm gonna advocate we go with this.
Okay.
Just clean up
Yep.
that thing, and then we'll sign it, next select board meeting. But good point. I think it would be good to talk to Jeff about what do we do if somebody just
Doesn't.
Because this already
Well, that was-
exists, right? We're just updating the form that already
Yes.
exists, and we're
Yes.
putting teeth into it because it didn't have
It
a
didn't-
fee
It didn't have
before.
any, I don't have any, no one was enforcing it, and
Right.
then. it
Well, nobody
basically
was
Jeff- No.
doing a post-construction
to make sure, right?
inspection to make sure that they did what they said they were gonna do.
And the
Right.
one form that we were handing out said that it needed a signature from Denny Benson and like past select board members.
Okay,
So it's just time to
yeah, update it.
update it.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, that's-
Goes to Weston Path.
If that front door doesn't get shut all the way at Breeze.
Okay, on to payroll.
So we're.
We can still
explaining
make
it.
8:30, guys.
I cannot believe this. Okay.
Yeah, so, would anybody like to, move to approve check warrant, report number, payroll check warrant, report number 13?
I move to approve payroll check warrant number 13.
In the amount of,
Sorry, in the amount of $10,888.72.
I second.
any questions, comments?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oops. Hang on. And, the, not used to handling the master in here. Yeah, so Ryan, how do you feel about moving approval of accounts payable check warrant report number 15?
I have a question about that.
Yeah,
So the Bartlett Tree Experts that did cemetery tree care, is that part of the appropriation that the town voted for the cemetery at town meeting, or is that part, I mean, is that part of the budget already, or is this extra?
Question always comes up and I do not know the answer to that. I can
Oh.
ask Kim tomorrow, she's not online tonight.
Okay.
that would,
Well,
That's a great
the
question.
expense is always going to go through this report.
yes.
And as to whether, what bucket
It
of
goes to.
budget it
Oh.
comes out of, I don't know, but we can, bill has to be paid in any case, so we'll just talk to Kim about that, and find out.
Yep, that would be great.
Okay. So,
Okay, so we move forward.
did you
I did not.
move?
He started the movement and then I stopped.
Okay,
Yeah, so we move to approve the invoices.
no, the
No, the
account
vendor
payable check.
Sorry,
warrant
accounts
report.
payable check warrant and the amount of 30,840.39.
That's it. Katie?
I second.
No,
Sweet.
any other discussion, questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, old and new business. I've got two bits of business. One is Linda, you probably heard this story from Rusty. Rusty got a call,
Uh-huh.
and I'm gonna have to back up here a little bit. There was a communication union district, CUDS, as part of a state funded but volunteer operated initiative to bring broadband internet access to the last mile in every town. And we are, I think we're a member of the Deerfield Valley CUD. And we
Yes.
are the last town, we're not the trunk of the tree, we are the most distant tiny branch of the tree that, and apparently we have something like 10 or 20 people in town who are not currently served by broadband, by high-speed broadband. And the cost of providing that service, doing it the way the CUD is going to do it, is going to be, if I'm remembering the number right, and Linda will give me a thumbs up or down, but it's about $36,000 per house.
Per house?
Per house. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, who's pays for that?
Well, the CUD is not going to pay for it because, and basically we've been kicked out of the CUD club, and they're not going to do the last mile in Weston, and it's tough rocks for us. But so that leaves us in a position where, and if we stayed in and they were willing to spend that money, or the money was less, it would be 3 years before we are going to get that service. And it's not obvious at all that these 10 or 20 people would know what to do with internet or want internet or, you know, any other sort of barriers to need. So at some point, we're going to need to figure out, first of all, how to identify those people on those last miles. And second of all, figure out whether we can do something like HughesNet or Starlink.
So my parents are building on the north end,
Yeah,
and I cannot find any internet.
yeah.
I mean, we were getting quotes like that, like $35,000.
Did you talk to Fidium?
Fidium, Comcast, VTEL, anyone.
Are they high enough to get the VTEL signal from,
No. Well, they're high enough, yes, but it was still astronomical. So they did Starlink.
Yeah.
It works great, but I mean, it's ridiculous that you can't just get the internet.
yeah, that's what I was stuck with that in my house. And I threw a hissy fit and I got VTEL from Magic Mountain. And my neighbor just to the south was 10 feet lower and he was too low and he couldn't get it. So I still got the VTEL. I got a HughesNet dish and I sent Elon Musk $300 to get me in line for Starlink. And he hasn't sent my $300 back, even though I have tried to get it back. So
Right now, it
But
seems to be working great, but.
I
it
think
is ridiculous.
HughesNet is just the answer because these numbers are crazy.
It's crazy.
Uh,
It was, they have all, you know, they're not solely off grid, but they have like a Tesla battery and they'll have solar panels, and so you need to have the internet to get it all set up.
run
It's
the grid.
just,
yeah. And I'll tell you that the problem I had with the satellite things and the VTEL thing, anything that's not hardwired into your house, is when it snows or rains,
Right.
you're basically out of business.
Yeah,
Um,
the old satellite TVs, right there.
Yeah. So it's an issue. It's a real
yes.
problem. We did get my neighbor and I. We finally got consolidated to do copper to both our houses for was a number like $2,000 or $3,000 each, and it was a quarter mile to his house and another quarter mile to our house.
Comcast stops at the end of the driveway, so like the neighbor across the road has Comcast. And they said that they would go up for, I think they were like $40,000, you know,
What?
something
Oh
insane.
my God!
How far up are you talking that they had to go?
They would, I mean, I think that my parents probably have a mile long driveway,
Oh boy!
but
Yeah.
so I get it, but.
Yeah.
Still, it's just crazy.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's my report, and there we
So-
are.
I didn't fully understand everything you said, sorry, so we're required to get,
No,
No.
we are not required or obligated yet, but we've been kicked out of the
CUD.
this CUD program. And at some point, we're gonna have to figure out how we're gonna organize this thing going forward. We're gonna have to see what kind of grant money is. First of all, we have to identify the 10 or 20 customers that don't have internet. And then we're going to have to see what kind of grant money, what kind of state programs there are, because that stuff is constantly changing.
Yeah, sure.
And I think relying on any federal programs is a complete loser right now.
Yeah.
So, this is another rock in our pack. But, we're gonna have to get on it. But this isn't something that has to be solved in the next month or two. This is gonna be something that's gonna take some time. Anyway,
Kim did just get back to me and said that the tree cutting budget comes from the cemeteries fund.
allocation, yeah, okay.
Great, thank you.
So the other thing is, talking about the flood resilience committee, we are out of money on our MTAP, Municipal Technical Assistance Program grant that funded our Du Bois and King initial hydraulic study and about $10,000 or $15,000 worth of Maggie Foley as our sort of grant consultant. And so what I am looking for, what I think we should do, and I'm interested in your guys' comments, is we don't have anything in the budget for consultant, but I think we should authorize, or let me put it another way, we can keep Maggie on board with a little bit of headroom, I believe, for $10,000 for the rest of the year. And I think that would be money extraordinarily well spent, because we're in the process of trying to get this, you know, the river grant for the dam and the bridge, and also look for potential funding for the Playhouse and the theater company and maybe the little school. And she can do things that none.
And the fire department.
And the fire, thank you, Linda, and the fire department. She can do things for all those constituencies that we just can't do. So I think, yeah.
She's invaluable to me. I cannot do.
I think that we can't go without her.
Yeah.
Jim, can I suggest that maybe I mean, 10,000 sounds fine, but I wonder if we want her to, I mean, maybe the WFCR needs to lay out a plan for what she would be doing, and then she makes a proposal to us for what it's going to cost. Because you know, you've just added a bunch of things in there, and I don't know if she can do all that for $10,000. It would be nice to, I think if we're gonna allocate some money to that, we ought to know exactly what we're getting out of it.
Yeah, that's a
And
really
for
good
her
point.
safety, for her safety as well as
and
our interest.
and for mine too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And I will reach out to her.
What is Maggie's last name again?
Foley, F-O-L-E-Y.
Thank you. I knew that.
Yeah. Great. I'll do that.
And
Thank
if
you,
we could,
Linda.
and maybe if we could get that, we could vote on that at the next select board meeting. I mean, I don't know what if there's a time crunch on this or not, but
I
might
think that's a
be.
good idea.
I don't think there is. So that's a terrific idea. Let's get some rigor on this and have something we can work from.
Yep.
Okay. Great. That's it for me. Anybody have anything else?
Nothing.
All right.
I move we adjourn. I move we adjourn.
I second that.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Have a
So
great
sh-
night, Linda.
Great, thank you. Shauna?
Yeah.
I come back like August 1st. Should I come in and sign all these things that I voted on tonight but didn't sign?
That would be great.
Okay, great. I'll do that. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody. See you next
Bye.
Bye,
time.
Linda.
Bye-bye.
Recording stopped.
Well,
32. Nicely done, sir.
Pretty close.
In and out.
I thought